Why do people get married in today's world? Does it matter? Isn't it the same thing basically as living together? And basically, don't marriages all just end or be miserable? Well, in a word, no. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm Leslie Dories, your marriage coach and creator of the Hero Husband Project and owner of Foundations Coaching. And it's really interesting because when my daughter got married 3 years ago, my nieces, her cousins, were really interested in all of the plans and stuff. They just didn't understand why she was getting married. And that's not an uncommon way of looking at marriage today. But done right, and please emphasize the word done right, or the phrase done right, marriage is actually a wealth builder. It actually provides a really strong foundation for kids to grow up in, and it's protective in many ways. But it's also the most challenging relationship you will ever find yourself in, and that's why people shy away from it. And the truth of the matter is, yes, it's easy to fall in love. It's easy to decide to be in that wonderful, fantastic period when the colors are brighter and all's right with the world. And then you make this commitment to each other and you have this big party and you start your life together. And that's when things generally tend to go off track because nobody taught you how to do it right. And we are now on multi-generations of divorces. So a lot of people have never even seen a healthy marriage. Some people actually think that's an oxymoron, that healthy and marriage are never used together. I'm the flip. I actually don't use miserable and marriage in the same sense because there are things that you can do that will make your marriage better. And the truth of the matter is that living together is not exactly equivalent. One, you're still keeping everything separate. And that kind of allows you to have one foot in and one foot out. You're protected because if things don't go well, it's relatively easy to just walk away. Where if you're married, you have to go through this whole legal process and it's costly and it's time consuming. But that's actually one of the things that the people who are most committed put both feet into the boat and set sail on this adventure. And to make it work, they actually have to work together, which is an opportunity to grow up. And when you're just living together, and I said you've got things separate, and that separation actually keeps you from having the full experience, the full benefit. And as I said before, marriage generates wealth. It protects children. Children, there are all kinds of studies, and I'm not going to go into them all here. If you want to know what they are, come read my blog post because I'm going to be talking about a particular study. But when children have that solid foundation, they can go out and live productive lives. And I'm going to tell you, yes, there are times when marriages don't work and when they need to end, but that is not most marriages. Most marriages could survive and thrive if the partners knew how to make it work. And sorry, I'm going to throw out there that women aren't necessarily any better at making relationships work because they're the ones who are actually initiating most of the divorces. So if you really knew how to make a relationship work, you wouldn't need to end it. But we think that they're natural. We think that all you have to do is fall in love, move in, and everything will go according to plan. Except there's the problem. You haven't made a plan. And that's what gets most marriages off track, is that they look at the wedding day as the end as opposed to the beginning, and they don't plan any further than that. Yes, you might plan to have kids, and yes, you might plan to buy a house, and yes, you might plan to retire, and yes, 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 you might plan this, but you're not actually planning the relationship. You're not actually spending the time and sitting down and laying out what you want the relationship to look like, putting the boundaries in place, getting the rules set, and actually implementing the plan. Because there's a famous saying about if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And that's what happens, is that people run into challenges, very common challenges, that they don't know what to deal with or how to deal with them. And so they think they made a mistake, or they are arguing with their partners and they can't seem to make any headway. And so they figure that the best thing to do is to end it. And then they repeat the process. And if you have children, those children are impacted. In fact, everybody that is connected to you on a relatively intimate or deep level is going to be impacted if you get divorced. If there are grandparents, if there are cousins, if even your friends have to decide, whose side am I going to come down on? And that creates a trauma effect. It creates a ripple effect. It's disruptive. So there are, over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be talking about a couple of things that you need to be aware of and willing to do if you want to have a successful marriage. And by the way, if you want to have children, they are most protected in this legal relationship. So love to hear your thoughts about this, because I know I've said a couple of things that maybe didn't land very well. So if you want to give me a comment down below, please subscribe to the channel. If you want your marriage to, if you want to be married and you want your marriage to thrive, get in touch with me. There's a lot of information that you can have that will set you off on the right foot. And it's not about the caterer, the dress, or the flowers. I'm going to tell you it's about much more important things than that, while those matter. So love to hear from you. Put a message down below. You can direct message me. You can send me an email at leslie@foundationscoachingnc.com. And I hope to hear from you. And until next week, stay loving.